Earlier this month, Nintendo had their Direct showing the Smash Bros. Ultimate cast. So far, they have 73 characters, and if you guys have been noticing, the trend here is that guest characters for each publisher is usually 2 at max, at least for what I've seen. We got Capcom with a Ryu entry and a Mega Man. We got Konami with Metal Gear Solid, and then they got the Castlevania entry. And Sega, they sort of have that. They got Sonic and Bayonetta, but, you know, I'm on the fence about Bayonetta just because Nintendo's, you know, they're profiting off the character, right? They're publishing 1, they're publishing 2, and they're publishing 3. But so is Sega. They're publishing it on the PC. So do we consider that a second character? And so I went on Twitter and I asked you guys what you guys thought would be another good entry for Sega to put in Smash Bros. If they could only pick one more franchise that isn't Sonic related. So let's see what you guys answered. We got over 200 replies. I didn't get to every single tweet. So let's get through this and I'll give you guys my opinions if I agree with you guys or don't. Oddly enough, the first one we got here is Nights into Dreams. And you know, this is kind of an interesting one because it was actually the most requested on Twitter. A lot of people surprised me when they said Nights. It's another Sonic Team franchise, so I guess I shouldn't be too surprised because Sonic Team seems to be, you know, there's a big fan base for Sonic, and those guys spilled to the other franchises. Knights was the mascot for the Sega Saturn, so I think it would be kind of cool to see it, but how would you even fight? Like, I just can't see Knights punching the crap out of another character. So maybe I'll have to say no, just because I like my pacifist Knights just going around spinning in the air, you know? The next one on the list is Alex Kidd, which is another former Sega mascot. I think we're getting a little trend here where people really like former Sega mascots that aren't Sonic and they want to have them in here. And you know, Alex Kidd would make sense. I think it would be better for a trophy or something instead of a playable character, since Sega's sort of kind of abandoned Alex Kidd. Though there is going to be a release on Sega Ages for Alex Kidd later this month sometime. You know, those Nintendo Switch Sega Ages games are like been announced, but they haven't gotten a date yet, so I guess we'll see when it comes out. As for Alex Kidd and Smash Bros, honestly, I think there's a lot more iconic franchises that have been supported for longer periods of time than Alex Kidd, but I could see why people like Alex Kidd. He just kind of fits into the world of Smash Bros. This one is kind of funny. Ecco the Dolphin, because people want to see him flop helplessly. You know, Ecco the Dolphin is a great game. I think it's very underrated. It's not legendary like Castlevania or Mega Man or Pac-Man or Sonic, so I would totally say no just because of that aspect of it. But it's pretty cool that people remember Ecco. The next one is Jet Set Radio, and I'm not surprised at all that this game got mentioned. It's one of those iconic Dreamcast games that has style, it has the music, it has the gameplay, it has the visuals, it has it all, you know? It's one of those things that people always look back fondly when they remember about Sega. I don't know if Jet Set Radio would be legendary like Castlevania, Pac-Man, etc., because they didn't get the chance to have long-term success. I would love it just because I'm a huge Jet Set Radio fan. I think it would be cool to see Nintendo fans embrace the franchise, because it just seems that like whatever's in Smash Bros, some Nintendo fans decide to become experts in, right? Like Bayonetta is huge now. So let's go to the next one. Phantasy Star, and one of the characters in this game is Final Fantasy's Cloud, which I would say Final Fantasy VII is mainstream iconic. Phantasy Star just never got that. At least I think it got more popular in the West when I was a kid when we played it on Phantasy Star Online. I think the JRPGs were very underrated at the time. And I don't know if a lot of people remember it. I'm not going to be opposed to any entry of Phantasy Star. Maybe it'd be pretty cool if they had like the art style of Phantasy Star Online, and then when you picked your character, you could technically make them before you fight in a match. That'd be pretty cool. But I mean, this is just me Sega fanboying out. I don't think Nintendo would be interested in Phantasy Star. So let's go to the next one. Sakura Wars. Sakura Wars? Sakura Wars? Am I saying this right? This franchise has been basically Japan only for the most part. I think one of the titles came in on the Wii, So Long My Love. I think that's the 4th entry in the franchise, but there hasn't really been a big push for this franchise in the West. Am I opposed to this? I mean, like, I'm not opposed to any game being, like, any franchise of Sega being celebrated in Smash Bros. So to me, it's hard. I don't think it's iconic, but we are getting a new Sakura Wars, so maybe Sega would love to have it in there just to promote it. But what do you guys think about this one? This one's a real tough one, right? It's just like a very Japanese game. Oh, and the next one right here, Segata Sanshiro, a mascot for the Sega Saturn. I guess not really a mascot, but like a marketing mascot. If you guys don't know who Segata Sanshiro is, he's basically a dude in a karate gi that would come out and punch people who didn't play Sega Saturn. It's kind of like the Kevin Butler for the PlayStation 3. He's basically started in a bunch of commercials. He's popular online because he's ridiculous and over the top. And he's the toughest son of a bitch in the planet, so there has that going for him. I think if they put him in Smash Bros, he would basically beat everybody. And then your video game console, your Nintendo Switch, will just turn into a Sega Saturn. And then you'll thank the gods that you got a better console out of it. Thank you, Segata Sanshiro. The next one is Ryo Hazuki from the Shenmue franchise, or Shenmue? I mean, I always mispronounce it. I've been doing it since I was a kid. I don't know why. I always say Shenmue, like Mew from like the Pokemon franchise. I don't know why. It just got stuck in my head. I'm sorry, guys. But this is another iconic franchise. I mean, it's iconic in the way that it's pushed gaming forward. Sales-wise, it didn't really get that much sales, sadly. We live in a world where we aren't playing Shenmue 12 right now, right? As for it being in the Smash Bros, I don't know. I think the art style kind of clashes, but I would be 100% okay for like a little kid, you know, Virtua Fighter's kid version of Ryo Hazuki coming out and beating up some Pac-Man, that's for sure. That'd be some crazy stuff. I personally don't think it will happen because it would kind of promote Shenmue 3 that Sega really has nothing to do with. But I mean, you never know. I mean, there could be a deal going on behind the scenes right now. I doubt it, but... The next one is Joe Musashi from the Shinobi franchise. I don't know if you guys have played any of the Shinobi games. I mean, if you're on our channel, I hope you guys have at least seen some YouTube videos of these games. I mean, there's a series of games, and Sega has really tried to resurrect the franchise. The last one was in like 2011, I want to say, the one on the 3DS. And you know, it's hard really because this franchise, in my opinion, should come back. I know everybody loves ninjas. Ninja Gaiden's big, or was big when they did the reboot. And I feel like if Sega really did something true to the classics, that this franchise could be big. I really love Shadow Dancer. I really love Shinobi 3. They're all kind of a little different, but they all have this, like, I don't know, trial and error that I really, really like. I know a lot of people say trial and error in games is bad, but I suggest you guys try it. I don't know if Joe Musashi is iconic enough for Smash, but personally to me, this would be a great entry because they need a ninja. They have no ninjas in these games. The next one is Skies of Arcadia. If you guys have played this JRPG, it was really, to me, it was popular on the Sega Dreamcast. It's the one I spend hundreds of hours on, trying to explore every nook and cranny. It also got a re-release on the GameCube, so it has a tie with Nintendo fans, since a lot of Nintendo fans remember Skies of Arcadia Legends on the GameCube. I would actually like this one just because I feel like, I don't know, like something about the art style, the weapons, the fact that it was on the GameCube, it kind of really ties into the whole Nintendo thing, and it'd be cool that if this could push another entry in this franchise. A lot of fans online, I've been noticing, have been talking about Skies of Arcadia since the death of the Dreamcast. Skies of Arcadia is one of those games that's kind of prevailed, you know, it's still in discussion with people. It might not be mainstream, but it has people and it has fans, and it always has new fans, and it's not really that hard to see why, because it's an iconic looking game. There's nothing really much like this game out there, and it'd be cool to see in Smash. Toe Jam and Earl. I don't hate Toe Jam and Earl. We even did a interview with Greg Johnson, the co-creator of Toe Jam and Earl, and we had a great discussion about the copyrights of the game and all that, but basically they own the copyrights of the characters, not the games. So Greg Johnson would be the one to talk to about this, not Sega. So guess we could skip this, but he has another game coming out this winter. If you guys didn't know, Toe Jam and Earl, Back to the Funk. I think that's what the game's called. So check that out this winter if you guys want some more Toe Jam and Earl action. Ooh La La from Space Channel 5 or Choo Choo Rocket. I mean, I think Ooh La La is more iconic. At least when this game came out, Sega really wanted to promote this Ooh La La character. I mean, at the time, I would just call her the Ooh La La character because I didn't know who she was. As an iconic Hollywood figure. They even did like a Hollywood red carpet thing where like a cosplayer would come out and act like she was a movie star. So they really tried to promote her as the next big diva. And it was kind of interesting because during the, 90s and early 2000s, there wasn't that many games marketed at women, at least not openly the way Space Channel 5 was. So that was appreciative in my opinion, and showing you that Sega was ahead of the curve, even in these kind of little things like aiming a game specifically for women, And it's not like the franchise is actually dead. Sega's actually working on Space Channel VR, which has changed 3 different names. I forgot what they're calling it now. But it's still alive, and as far as Ooh La La making it to Smash Bros, do we need 2 sexy Sega ladies in one game? Bayonetta and Ooh La La? Too much, I think, for Nintendo fans, right? And the next one we're talking about is Vectorman or Comic Zone. I mean, these are 2 US Sega Genesis developed games, and these 2 games seem to always be side by side with each other. When one person talks about Vectorman, another person has to bring up Comic Zone. I don't know why. I mean, I think it's because they released together or right next to each other late in the Sega Genesis life cycle. I like Vectorman. I don't know, he's one of my favorite characters, just the way he looks. And it's really a shame that there's only 2 entries into the franchise. And I really love the look of Comic Zone. Like, the way it actually showed a comic book in 16-bit was insane. But I think Sketch Turner kind of aged badly. He looks really 90s. Vectorman still looks kind of 90s, but I feel like his design is more with the times. I doubt either of these games will be in Smash Bros, but I mean, wishful thinking. I really like the Vectorman design, like I said. And the next one is Virtua Fighter. If you guys didn't know, Virtua Fighter already has Mii costumes for Akira and Jackie in the game in Smash 4. So I mean, giving them their own like character, or at least one of them their own character, would be pretty cool. And I know people are saying like, but. No. I mean, Virtua Fighter is the grandfather of 3D fighting games. If any entry in this whole thing deserves to have a character, it's Virtua Fighter in my opinion, because it's one of the most underrated franchises. Like, when people think about fighting games, not too many people bring up Virtua Fighter, and it's kind of sad. It's Sega's own fault. I'm not gonna give all the blame on the user they're talking. So yeah, if I had to choose one franchise out of all the ones we talked about, it would definitely be Virtua Fighter, just because how iconic it is, in my opinion. Sega was ahead of the curve. This is the most ahead they've ever been, right? Releasing the first 3D fighting game, setting the rules for 3D fighting that other companies really benefited from, like Namco with Tekken and all these other 3D fighting games that were coming out in the mid-90s. So yeah, Smash Bros. Probably benefited too, because Virtua Fighter was one of the first fighting games to actually try something that wasn't a Street Fighter clone. And then Smash did the same thing, it's totally different. So yes, Virtua Fighter, hell yes. Not surprising, the second most requested franchise in this was Yakuza, either Majima or Kiryu. And obviously, I kind of agree with this. I mean, I'd rather have Virtua Fighter like I just said, but Yakuza is one of my favorite modern Sega franchises. It's the most long running they've had since going third party, and that's something to celebrate. I mean, the company hasn't been consistent in a long time. The only thing that's been consistent is Sonic games and Yakuza games. So, I mean, they already have Sonic, might as well put the other working mule in the franchise. And the next one is the most iconic Sega character of all time, Danica Patrick. If you guys didn't know, she was the fantastic addition to Sega and Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed. We actually don't know if she'll be returning for Team Sonic Racing. I know a lot of fans out there that mained her in the last game really want her to come back. And I think if she was in Smash Bros, it'd be something else, you know, her and the Wait Fitness girl, Bayonetta, and then her, Danica Patrick. That's some OP stuff right there. So I support this 100%. Quote that. Put that on the internet. Then we got a message from, I'm probably screwing this up, Deva Ashura. I don't feel like there are any other SEGA franchises big enough for Smash, to be honest. Even if I love Vice. Probably just another Sonic character. Oh yeah, I mean, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but let me fix this for you guys real quick. And the last one, some people were asking, why doesn't SEGA just make their own Smash Bros clone so they could put all their characters they want in it? I would have to agree with part of that. I would love to see SEGA do a fighting game where it's like a crossover, but I don't like the idea of them copying Smash Bros, and here's the reason why. Smash Bros has perfected their formula. It has a certain feel to it. It has such a certain feel and polish to it that fans cry if they don't have the perfect GameCube controller to play it, alright? Every person that tries to copy, every company that tries to copy it, like PlayStation All-Stars, it's just crap, to be honest with you, and it just feels cheap compared to Smash Bros, and I don't like that. I would love to see something like Sonic the Fighters, maybe a 2D fighting game with some cool 2D visuals. I mean, it's a huge world out there, there's a lot of options. But that's just my opinion about this. What are your opinions? Let me know in the comments below. What SEGA franchise do you want to see in Smash Bros Ultimate? If you guys like these kind of videos, let us know by giving us a thumbs up. And for the first time ever, I can say this. Smash that like button. Get it? Because it's a Smash video. Alright guys, see you guys next time.